Hi everyone, it's Kristen here with a chatty vlog today. I have lots of blouse and shirt sewing inspiration for you here today. There are so many patterns I need to talk you through, and also maybe there's a few here that you've thought about making before but maybe haven't. So I'm going to let you know the ones that I have loved sewing, that I've loved to wear, and the ones I would love to make again. If you're new to the channel, a big welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoy today's content, I would love if you could give it a thumbs up because it does help other sewers like you find my channel. So how have you all been? It's been quite a while since I've done one of these chatty style vlogs, and if you're like me and you're thinking about the change of season and what you'd like to be sewing, the things that are always on the top of my list are usually blouses and shirts because I get so much wear out of them. They don't take a huge amount of fabric. They're very versatile. You know, you can dress them up or wear them with just a pair of jeans and trainers. And there are so many fantastic blouse patterns that are quite easy to make and very beginner friendly. I'm going to talk you through a few. I haven't counted here. They're quite a stack. I'm going to lift them up so you can see. These are the ones out of my wardrobe. Yes, I do have a sewing channel, so I do sew a lot of things. And I would say most of these are the last couple of years, and I do tend to move a lot of my things on in my wardrobe. I've got a very grateful bestie who loves it when I sort of move things onto her. Some things I can never part with, whether they have sentimental value or maybe the fabric's really special to me or just the actual design and style are things I love to wear. And then there's other things that I think I'm going to really get a lot of wear out of and I don't. So it really is hard to tell sometimes. But what I do find is just the classic style shirts are such wearable things, and you can actually unbutton them and wear them open throughout the year, with maybe over a tank top for summer, then layer them for winter under a blazer or maybe a knit jumper. But there's also some fantastic sort of short sleeve blouse patterns. So I'm going to take you through the ones I've loved wearing and making. And there's also a lot of top or boxy style patterns that I haven't sort of shown you all those because I will be here literally all day. But they're more of the basic style, boxy, round neck top, crop style. The boxy style are fabulous. I do have lots of those in the wardrobe, but I have tended to bring out the ones that are a little bit more unusual. And I will link all the patterns in the description box. A lot of these are PDF only, and a lot of them are also paper patterns that we do stock in the store. So there's a good mix of everything. So I hope you enjoy what I have to show you because I personally love these style of videos where people pull out things out of their wardrobe and talk you through things they've made, whether it be for the last season or whether it just be everything in their wardrobe. They're the things that really appeal to me because then that what you're making is something that's going to be very versatile. Let me crack on and get started. The one I'm wearing today is, you'll see, a make that I made I think about 3 months ago now, and it's a really popular pattern, one of our most popular in store, and we're waiting to get more of these restocked because it is the Friday Pattern Company Donny shirt. And this has the expansion with a long sleeve, and it's fabulous if you don't want to make a whole button through placket, but you want that shirt style aesthetic. I really love the collar. I think it's a fabulous open sort of camp style collar. I love the sort of boxiness of it. I did size up because it's more of a neat fit, but it depends on what you want to wear it with. For me personally, I have a pair of jeans. I want it to have a little bit more swing, but if you wanted to wear it sort of cropped with a high waist pair of pants, you might want to stick to the measurements and always look at the finished garment measurements. Phoebe is actually making a cosplay costume at the moment, and she's using a paper cut pattern, a ray dress pattern, and we're talking about grading and how important it is to grade to get the right fit for your body. And I just said to her, look at your finished garment measurements because it is sometimes really hard if you don't know the designer that well or how their clothing fits, to know then how to choose. And there are especially a lot of designers that do have number patterns like 1 to 10. They might not use the standard like ready to wear sizing, like 8 to 16. So if you're looking at that and you're getting really confused, I would also always suggest to look at finished garment measurements and then go about measuring your body and seeing how much ease you want. So I think with the dress she made, she graded between the shoulders and bust and the hip and waist area. There was like 3 to 4 size difference, and the beauty of that is that you can get that fit to your own body to fit perfectly and have that right amount of ease. And there are a lot of these patterns that don't have a huge amount of ease and some of them have masses. So it always is best to look at the designer's finished garment measurements to look at the size that you want and how much ease you prefer, because everyone's different. So this Donny shirt is fabulous. I love the extension, the sleeves with the placket and the cuff. And I also love it in the short sleeve regular version as well. So a really great little open. I really like an open V-neck. I think it's more flattering on me than a button up. And I always love when I see a blouse, with a button up or maybe the high neck frill. But when I wear it, I tend to feel a little bit claustrophobic. So, everyone's style's different, and it's always best to choose a pattern that sort of speaks to you, or you're going to wear throughout, day to day, what appeals to you. But this one is fabulous, and I made it in a Fabric Godmother viscose twill, and it's a beautiful rune design. I really enjoy wearing this, and I've worn it lots. I've got a nice navy cardigan I've worn over the top of it with a pair of jeans, and yeah, really love the pattern. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's overly roomy around the waist area. I would definitely look at the finished garment measurements and either size up or down depending on the ease you like. So that's my first pick. That's the Donny from Friday Pattern Company. This next make was one from our bespoke box, which was, I think it was May, the Lady of the Lake, and it was again a viscose. And this is the Sew House 7 Revel Topper. When I first made this, I thought it was a little bit too sort of neat around the waist. So if you don't like a more fitted style blouse around the waist, I would definitely look around sizing up around the middle section. But if you like that croppy style high, or wear with a high waist pair of pants, maybe you like the free range slacks from Sew House 7 would be perfect, or maybe a Barry or Bob pant, or the new Winnies, they'd be perfect because they are like a higher waist. I think for heading into summer, spring and summer, it's going to be really lovely to wear. I love the big wide, almost like a kimono style sleeve, and I love the shawl style neck. That's one of my favorite necklines, the deep plunging V with that high back shawl style. So there's a couple of different versions in the Revel Topper. You can make it with the sort of the placket on the front or on the inside, and you can do things like top stitching to make it more interesting. And remembering that if you make it with a floaty viscose, you're going to have more drape. If you make it with a cotton or a linen, you're going to have a bit more structure. But I can personally see this being worn with a nice bias cut skirt. I think it'll look beautiful. But I do have a lovely long line denim skirt I think I'm also going to be wearing it with for heading into the warmer season. But I love that deep plunging V. I think it's a really dramatic and striking style top. Now, the other day I was talking about patterns that I have loved to make in the past, and the Italia Jupe Frida blouse is one that I have loved wearing. I love the V kind of yoke, and it's got almost like a gather on that angle of the yoke. It's got a lovely collarless neck, so it's sort of almost like a mandarin style neckline, but then I wear mine open. I have these really pretty buttons. I think they were Lise Taylor buttons that really have a bit of sparkle. And the beautiful thing about blouse making is that you can really play up a blouse by dressing it up with beautiful ornate buttons. And this is a fabric from Mason Bloom Mood. Mason Bloom Mood, the beautiful Melanie, has had a baby recently, so she hasn't had any new collections come out, so she's been very busy being mum. But I love her fabrics, and I'm really excited to see what she brings out in the future. Because I know running a busy business, it'd be so hard with a new baby. It'd be very, very time poor. So let's see if she's thinking about bringing some new things out in the future. But I really love her designs. That was a beautiful fabric, and I love wearing this with my silo jacket, which is the padded quilted cousette fabric over the top. And I love the combination of the olive and the plum and the navy together. So sometimes it's the fabric that really attracts me and makes me love the blouse the most. And sometimes it's a combination of just the pattern and style lines. But the Frida is a fabulous little blouse pattern. 3/4 sleeve, nice simple cuff on the end, and a nice inverted pleat for your bit of ease throughout the back. But a really lovely make. Italia Jupe Patterns, of course, one of our most popular pattern companies in store. And they also have PDF A0 you can print out too if you don't fancy tracing off, so that's another option. But I personally love wearing my Frida blouse, and it's one of my favorites. Again, another blouse pattern. Needs a bit of an iron, this one, because I haven't ironed it after I've worn it last time. But this is the Laurie blouse from Atelier Jupe. Again, another Atelier Jupe blouse pattern. They do them so well. This one is in a cotton and a beautiful organic cotton. We still have a little bit of that fabric left in store. And I made this in our autumn back in April. And this is a really lovely, simple looking blouse that has quite a lot of really unusual details. So you've got kind of the yoke across there with a deep V, no sort of gathering or anything like that. And then the back, you've got the gather. So you get all the ease from the back. And I think that one could definitely be sized down next time, but it is meant to be worn as kind of an oversized, kind of a wider sleeve. So it almost like gives that boxy effect, or like a grown on sleeve, but it's not. It's a really unusual design. But I love that. And you can also make that one in a dress if you want to lengthen it as well. But the Atelier Jupe patterns there's something unique about them. And I just love the thought and process, especially when sisters Eva and Petra come out with their beautiful collections, and then you see the patterns they've designed made up in their fabrics. It really does help give you that vision if you're wanting to sew something in either a cotton or a viscose. But the Laurie is a really popular pattern again, and it's a great one for that trans-seasonal weather because of that length of sleeve, but really nice and breezy to wear over a pair of jeans again. This one's been one of my most loved blouses, and now this would be at least 2 years old now. I made this in some gorgeous Cousette viscose, and this is a pattern by the lovely Jo at Forget Me Not Patterns. It's called the Helmy, and the Helmy has a really lovely keyhole cut out neck on the front there with a nice statement button and a gorgeous little Peter Pan style collar. Now you can really over dramatize this by maybe putting the bigger collar with the frill if you like that, and that's been done so beautifully in the patterns, the pics, so you can really see. So something like a broderie would be gorgeous in that as well. But if you like the more understated collar, the Peter Pan style collar on its own is just so simple and lovely. And I ended up doing my sleeves with the elastic and the gathering, and I widen the sleeves at the bottom, and that's a really easy hack to, of course, to put your little tunnel of fabric there with your elastic. And the actual pattern itself has lovely like fish eye darts at the back, so it gives a nice bit of shaping, and it's a fabulous pattern, and I love wearing it because it gives that little bit of a dressy style blouse look, but then it's simple. It's simple enough without a lot of button fronts and a lot of gathering and things like that. But lovely for showcasing if you like that keyhole front, which I personally love that design, and that nice rounded Peter Pan style collar. So that's the Helmy by Forget Me Not Patterns. This is a favorite pattern of mine. I'm sure I know a lot of you have made it by now. And of course, the beautiful Kate from Pattern Emporium Patterns has come out with so many great blouses since this one. This is just one of her most trusted, tried and tested patterns. It's called the Be Mine Balloon Sleeve Blouse, and I've done this in a simple viscose linen slub. It's just so understated and so pretty because this balloon style sleeve, if you don't like a big puff sleeve but you want to make something with a bit of drama, the drama is all at the end of the sleeve, and the way it's cut with the high front and lower back gives that really nice balloony kind of shape. I love it. I think this one's gorgeous. It's more of a boxy style front, and I've done the seam down the front with this one because I have got a matching skirt, and I love it just in a simple khaki color with the button at the back there. And you just got a really nice simple design at the front. You can actually do it on the fold if you don't want to do the stitching up the front, but it does give a nice little hint of difference when you have that seam line and top stitching. And a simple bold color is one thing I'm lacking in my wardrobe. I love prints and I have so many prints, but when I see this, it really brings me joy because I know I can sort of wear it back with so many things. And in the past, I've made the Be Mine balloon sleeve in lots of different prints as well. So it's a great one. That sleeve again is perfect for this time of year, and great length. You've got a couple of different lengths as well, and you've got that nice deep sort of faced hem as well. So and of course, she's come out with the Lyrical since then, the Spill the Tea. There's some fabulous patterns in Pattern Emporium, but I can highly recommend the Be Mine balloon sleeve. It's a really great pattern. I love an oversized shirt. I think they're so practical. They're timeless. You can pair them back with so many things, whether it be a jean or maybe a nice pant or over a column style dress. This one's quite oversized. It's called the Ocean Days by Pattern Emporium, and I love it so much. It's one of those blouse patterns I've worn so much through the years, and I think it'd be perfect again in a simple bold color, or again in a lovely cotton or viscose. These are both viscose, and these are also both from Atelier the fabrics. Some of my favorite prints. I could never part with these. I just think they're gorgeous fabrics. They're like little works of art, aren't they? And this Ocean Days oversized shirt, it's quite oversized. I actually do my sleeves with without the cuff. I use the elastic gathered method, so I can then pull them up. They're really easy to wear that way, and I just think the simple long line shirt, it's quite long as well, but it's just such a great one to wear, paired back with a lot of things in the wardrobe. And again, you can make this in things like your linens and cottons as well, but I really love them in the Atelier viscose, and I have worn them heaps. I think I might even have a couple more in the wardrobe that I've worn before. Kate's more simple structured shirt, I'll put a pic up of that as well. I've made quite a few of them. I made one in a shirt style dress in a Dashwood studio, and I've also made this one in the Cousette fabric. It's the same simple long line shirt pattern, but then you can add things on like your gathered puff sleeve. So the great thing about Patternporium patterns is you can mash a lot of their sleeves back to totally change the look. And that one in that really playful Cousette fabric is fantastic. So the Ocean Days shirt doesn't have, from memory, doesn't have the inverted pleat at the back, but this shirt does. So it gives you that bit of ease, but it's more closer fitting to the body, not tight, not fitted, but in between, more of a classic style shirt. And whereas the Ocean Days is more oversized style shirt. So just check out, again, the finished garment measurements if you're wanting to see what size to make for you. But that one, again, has the yoke at the back. And yeah, I love that fabric. Sometimes I regret making a short sleeve because I then can't wear it for winter. And then, if you wear a shirt with a longer sleeve, you can push them up for summer. So it's always a toss-up whether I shorten a sleeve or not and regret it later on, because I think a long line or 3/4 sleeve shirt or blouse is always going to be a bit more practical, in my opinion. But yeah, it's one of those ones that, because of the fabric, I just adore this, and I've worn this heaps. Then we've got the Lise Taylor Pimpant blouse, which is a really sweet little floaty blouse with a more sort of a boxier shape, but quite a lot of loose drapiness because, again, of that nice V front yoke with the gathering along the top of the bust. And that's such a flattering style when you have that gathering going along the top of the bust, because it sort of floats on over the bust line and gives you that nice amount of swingy ease. Really cute 3/4 sleeve and a sweet little rounded collar. It's probably a bit hard to see here with this print. This is a lovely Eglanted and Zoe viscose twill, which I just adore this fabric. And I wear these with a really lovely wide leg lagoon green color pair of pants, and I've got a matching jacket as well. And that really sort of tones the busy print down a little bit, but also leaves it a bit more dramatic when you take the jacket off. And again, the buttons, these are Eglanted Zoe licorice black little 15mm buttons. And it's got a really lovely burrito style yoke. You'll see the same fabric, the front and the back there. So you get great detailed instructions. Again, Lise Taylor patterns are really lovely drafted, and so much thought and detail goes into them. So yeah, it's still really nice to see a more demure or sweet style blouse with that rounded collar. But not too oversized if you don't like a big style collar. But that is the Pimpant, and it's one that I've loved wearing and making. If you love a classic style shirt or shirt dress, you can't go past the Closet Core Jenna. This is a Tencel viscose blend from memory, and we had this fabric a couple of years ago now, and it's a really gorgeous rusty color. And again, it gives you all the classic details of a really simple classic shirt with all the instructions there to teach you about shirt making. So you've got the proper plackets and cuff there, the stand collar, really great shirt pattern, and you've got that nice burrito style yoke there. And I love the fit of this. It's not as oversized as the Ocean Days. It's a little bit in between, but it's still quite oversized, but it's just such a great shirt pattern, and I really need to make the Jenna shirt dress. Every time I've seen that on someone, I've got to make that. But it gives you those classic shirt details, again, your plackets on your cuffs and that kind of thing. So there's quite a bit of detail, so probably not a beginner pattern, but definitely one that if you want to increase your shirt making skills, the instructions are fabulous. I think Heather Lou's patterns are one of the sort of most iconic in the indie pattern world. They always have the beautiful details there that I'm looking for, whether that be just the fit or there's little finishes that a lot of other pattern companies don't put in there, but really classy, lovely patterns, and you can see why her pattern company has done so well. And it's just, again, these classic style patterns are ones that you need to try if you've never tried shirt making. Give the Jenna a go. If you want a bit more of a neater style shirt, this is the Butano by Friday Pattern Company. I've done this in a lovely check that was a Cosette fabric, and it's like it reminds me of a Miller style shirt, that bit of a Western theme with the little press stud poppers there, and you can make it with a little tie. I think the Western style is really having a moment, and it's a gorgeous one on. I would definitely look at sizing up with this one around the body. Personally, for me, I found there wasn't as much ease as, say, the Pattern Emporium or the Jenna Closet Core. But if you are wanting more of a neater style shirt without all that ease and bulk, the Butano could be the one for you. But I love it in a check. I think it's fabulous. You've got the hook there at the back. You've got the inverted pleat to give you a little bit of ease as well through the body. But I kind of wished I'd made it a little bit more oversized. But I think it's a classic style shirt pattern, and it looks great if you're wanting something like a shacket style, or to wear maybe in a flannel or a check. That's a great one with that, especially with that little tie. It adds a lot of detail there. So it's really cute little Western style shirt. Now, one of our most popular patterns has been the Samara by Tilly and the Buttons. I nearly said the Winnie because I've come up with the Winnie. That's the pant pattern. So the Samara blouse is fabulous. Can highly recommend this. I want to make another one. It's so simple and classic. It's got your lovely style V neck, not too plunging, sort of almost got a curve to it there. And you've got options for the sleeves. You can make the longer sleeves like what I have here with the elastic, or you can do a shorter style sleeve. That one is a little bit roomier. I think I made the 6. I'd probably go down to the 5 next time. But depending on what you want to wear it with, because an oversized shirt's always really practical over a pair of jeans. And I made this in an Italian brunette linen viscose blend, and it has a tiny little tile print throughout it. It's a really gorgeous fabric. But that one is such a simple pattern, really great for beginners if you want to get into blouse making and you haven't done much before, and can highly recommend it for showcasing a beautiful bold print, because you haven't got all the seam lines or things to chop it up. You're going to keep that design, and you'll see it's almost got like a drop style shoulder, lots of ease through the body, and I've really loved wearing my Samara. It's one that I would like to make for summer again in the shorter or like the kimono style sleeve. I think would be great for that as well. Another pattern here by dahliasewciety is the Lynn Caftan pattern, and I've made that in the blouse as well. It's a really lovely pattern for a warm day. It's cool and floaty. You've got that neckline there that is that sort of overlapping style, so there's no buttons and closures. It was a nice simple make, again quite oversized, so make sure you look at your pattern measurements, because they can really differ a lot. Even with the same designer, you need to see the amount of ease intended by the designer. But that one is again in a Mason Blue Mood fabric, which I love, and it's just got such a nice breeziness to it. It feels cool on. Definitely would love to make the Lynn Caftan with the tie belt, because that style of like a shirt style dress is so practical. It's great because you don't have to worry about making the button placket again, but you've got that nice opening there at the neck. So really nice, simple pattern and really easy to make. This one, I have a little bit of regret. I love this fabric so much. This is a Madame Iris fabric, and I made the Fiber Mood India. It has a few details I just don't think need to be there. You've got the goudees under the armhole, which I just don't think needed to be there. Because I made the blouse first and realised that there was so much sort of mucking around with that, and I found it quite hard to get that all inset properly. With the dress, I ended up leaving those out, and it came up just as nice. I would really recommend, if you're going to make the India, don't bother putting the goudees under the arm, because you really don't need them. It's got a lot of ease throughout the body. It's got a really nice simple tie front neck, and I love the fabric so much, but I kind of I'm just in two minds whether I'd make this pattern again exactly as the fibre mood instructions went. But again, it's simple. It's a nice boxy little blouse, and you've got that really lovely keyhole front. There's something missing with the design or the drafting there, that fibre mood sometimes can be hit and miss. I do love a lot of their patterns because they're very fashion forward, but it's one that I'm not sure whether I would repeat again exactly, say, as the instructions intended. I love aesthetically the look of it with that simple tie front neck, but there's just something I would change about it. Nowadays to me are just a lot of extra hassle that you don't need, and there's so many more simple style blouses that I think are a bit better. But I just love the fabric in that one, and I've worn it heaps with high-waisted jeans. There's just leopard print, just can't get enough of. I think it's so classic in the wardrobe now. It's become a real staple, but that one, I love the colorway in that too. Another atelier jute pattern. This is the Hannah pattern. That one had a little bit of drama when I was making it. The instructions were a bit up and down. I would say that a few people have actually said to me that with the neck, they were a little bit hit and miss with the instructions there, and you ended up having to sort of intuitively work out what they were intending to do with the pattern. Sometimes you can overthink things, and if you go with your own intuition, if you've been sewing for many years, you're going to know what I mean about that. Patterns can be very different in the way the instructions are written sometimes, but that one is such a lovely blouse pattern, and I think the fabric for me is just so breathtaking and beautiful. But I really love the boho sleeve, and I think it's a gorgeous one. The yoke was a little bit complicated in making it, but I really like the style of having that sort of swingy body and more fitted around the bust area, around the neck area. I think it's a gorgeous blouse, and I love that detail of the sleeve. This is a fantastic pattern. Now, I've made this in short sleeve and in long. It really changes the look of it with the longer sleeve. It's a Pattern Emporium shoreline blouse. So if you don't want to be making things like collars and collar stands, this one has a round neck, or you can do it with a V neck. And it has the button placket through the front. You have your yoke there as well. And I've done that one in a Elise Taylor viscose fabric, and make it without the sleeve. And it just has a drop shoulder cap sleeve, or with the sleeve added on. You've got that option there too to have it longer. But love this pattern, and it's so simple. It's nice to wear unbuttoned as well over a tank top for summer. If you're wanting a little throw over style blouse, it's a really, really simple one to make. And again, I don't think you can go past Pattern Emporium for their instructions. They're always so well written. Kate has a lot of instructional pics there as well, so can highly recommend heading to Pattern Emporium. But that one's a winner for me. We've got one of my favorite patterns, and I've only recently found this pattern company this year. I have seen a lot of people printing this pattern company out without A0, and it's really made me delve into their website. It's an Australian pattern company called Carme Apparel, and the lovely Imbi has so many beautiful boho style patterns. I am really looking into making one of her new dress patterns called the Love Child dress for heading into spring and summer. But this little blouse pattern is one that you cannot walk past. It is fabulous. It's so easy to make. You have heaps of different sleeve variations. You've got your puff sleeve, you've got your 3/4, your longer sleeved. All the details are there, and also it's called the tablecloth top. I should say what it's called, but really simple V-neck. Lovely length as well, and just so many variations there. And I think it's beautiful as it's intended to be for if you have a vintage style tablecloth or doilies that you want to repurpose, or maybe just using a nice fabric you have in your stash that you're wanting something simple and classy to showcase a special fabric. I don't think you can go past it. It's a wonderful pattern, great instructions, doesn't take a lot of fabric, so there's so much going for it. And it was so fast to sew up. And I actually did the black crochet lace around the hem and sleeve of mine, but it's one that I want to make more of. Now I've seen it on, and I really love the fit of it. It's perfect amount of ease in the body and perfect length. And I really love a V-neck. I've said it time and time again. I love a V-neck. It feels great on, and it's just that right depth of V for me. That's not too flashy, but really great little pattern. Definitely want to make more. And I love the sort of dramatic style puff sleeve. I think they look gorgeous. So Fantastic pattern company. Head over to Kame Apparel. One of my favorite patterns, I have made 3 of these in the past. I love the Varley by Pattern Fantastic, and I really especially love it in the blouse format for summer. It's just such a swishy, dreamy style blouse with really kind of a 70s aesthetic, I would say. That boho vintage feel, which I love, and I've made this one in a viscose that we had in our the Japanese water garden box. I think it was back in January of this year. Fabric's stunning, but the pattern really showcases it really well. And the lovely placket at the front with, you know, almost like it's not a keyhole, but it just ties up really quite up high to the neck. But then you've got that opening at the front, the really lovely soft gathers over the bust, and the really unique sleeves, I think, is what sets it off for me. And I love it. I cannot get enough of this pattern. And it's one that I've made in a dress or a couple of dresses before. I love it in my Fabric Godmother black and white print. I've worn that heaps last summer. You can throw it on, but you can really look dressed up as well. But that is so cute over a little pair of shorts or jeans. But love the Varley. Yeah, it is one of their most popular patterns for a good reason for many years now. And it really dramatically changes a look when you make it with a linen or compared to a viscose. The linen or cotton gives it that more voluminous sleeve and more structured look, whereas the viscose gives it that nice swishy, dreamy floatiness to it. So great pattern. I love this pattern. This is a Cousette Sandalette blouse, and I talked about this back in the start of the year. I made it in a lovely cotton from Atelier Brunette. Fabulous pattern. You can make it in a long sleeve or the short, and it comes in a shirt style dress length version or the blouse version. It's so simple. It has an integrated style collar all in one piece that you can just fold back. So really cleverly designed, but no sort of collar to, and collar stand or anything like that. So if you love a V-neck blouse with a collar, that's the one to go for. It's a nice, neat style blouse, not a lot of ease throughout the body, but I really would love to make that in the shirt dress for this summer, and I really loved wearing this. It's one of my favorite blouses. Again, Cousette have so many great designs, but this one has to be one of their more clever ones, but very, very simple. If you don't like a lot of gathering and a lot of volume, you're going to love the Sandalette. And from memory, Deb from DB Designs made one herself, and it looked fabulous on her too. So I'd love to see it in a shirt dress with a little belt. It gives me kind of 80s vintage shirt style dress vibes, which is what I love. But yeah, I love the perfect amount of ease through the body. So a bit more of a fitted style shirt, but a great one. Cap sleeve shirt is fantastic, simple, doesn't take a lot of fabric at all. It's great to wear as a little throw over style shirt. I love wearing mine over a little tank. This fabric is stunning. It's a Lady McElroy, the swimming hole, I think it's called. There's little bathing ladies on there. It's just so beautiful and intense, the color, and this was in a viscose linen, but I love wearing this. It's one of my favorite blouses. I will never let it go. I love wearing it over a little pair of navy shorts and a little singlet top, just open, but really simple if you don't want a collar and collar stand, if you want that simple neck, and really easy to make. The assembly line do their classic style patterns so well, and everything they show is always done in either a black or navy or white, so you can really see the style lines. But again, very, very simple blouse, but great if you want to show off a beautiful fabric. This is a lovely little blouse, and it's from, again, an Atelier Jute fabric from a couple of years ago now. Now, this is actually a dress pattern that I made into a top, and it's the Hope dress by Style Arc, and it's one of the Hope expansion packs that I put onto it with the tie, neck, front, and the sleeve. And you'll see normally the Hope just has the simple neck, no opening, and just has that gathered style skirt. So what I did is I shortened the gathered skirt into a top version. It's really simple to do, but a lot of those style art patterns are fabulous when you get the expansion pack, if you want to really change up the look of a dress that works so well and you've worn heaps before. The expansion packs is a great way of bringing lots of different variations with the sleeves and the bodice and openings and things like that. So that one again has a really boho aesthetic to it with that tie front, and it's one that I love wearing in the wardrobe. 2 left to go. Now this one was one that really took me by surprise because I hadn't really looked too much at it before. I was trying to find a little shirt to make with this gorgeous Atelier Brunette viscose, which again, the leopard print, which is what I love. And I wanted a cap sleeve blouse, but I really had trouble finding what I wanted. And then I came across the Itch to Stitch. I think it's the Nusara shirt, not the Sonara, it's the Nusara from memory. And it's a simple shirt. And you've got that nice cap sleeve. You've got the burrito style yoke as well. It's great. It's a really good pattern for a simple style. Again, that cap sleeve is one that I love wearing because it gives me protection through summer when we get really hot, protects the shoulders from the sun. But it's also really easy to make without having to do inset sleeves because you've got that right amount of coverage. American sewing patterns, again, make sure you don't think they're Australian sizing because the 10, 12, 14, again, is different to our 10, 12, 14 ready to wear. So look at the finished garment measurements and do your measurements and look at the finished garment measurements to predict the size that you are after. So yeah, I would have to say Itch to Stitch patterns I think are really leading the field with unique and ingenious style new patterns. So they're not just coming out with the same old thing rehashed. They're really, well, I should say Candice is really putting a lot of thought and detail into her patterns recently. She has some stunning dress patterns that I am just dying to make for heading into spring, summer. But that's one of her fabulous little shirt patterns that I think you should definitely try making. Now, the last one I would say was one of our most popular patterns in the store last summer. I made this and I think I went on to sell so many of these patterns from Mason Faux that I had to reorder them about 3 different times from France. And again, they're sold out because of the simplicity of it. I actually got my mum to make herself one. I said, you're going to love this because it's a really easy make. It doesn't take much fabric, but it's just so simple but really elegant, and you can make it with a really pretty fabric to showcase the fabric. I love that it's got that little, again, the keyhole style front. You use the bias bound neckline to enclose all of that. And then of course the cap sleeve, which is what I love. And then you've got the inverted pleat on the back for all that ease. So it's just such a clever little design, but so simple, but one that you don't see in so many pattern companies. I think they've done a fabulous job with this. They have got quite a few patterns very similar with a longer sleeve as well. I think there's the Violet, which is again another one similar shape to this. But there is just something about this. This is a Marissa. I should tell you what it is. A Marissa from Mason Faux Patterns. We will be restocking these when their new collection launches next month. But I made this with a really pretty spring pattern fabric, which is a viscose from Cuzette last year, and I wore that so much. But it's like a t-shirt, but a woven t-shirt with just that little lovely neck detail. So if you want something a little bit more elevated than a regular knit t-shirt, I think for a woven top, you can't go past the Mason Faux Marissa. So that's my roundup of my most worn blouses and shirts that was from the past, I would say 2 years. Again, there's so many more I could go through, but I would definitely be here all day. I've tried to show you ones that have a little bit more detail than just maybe just a simple boxy top. But all of these are quite easy to make. A lot of these shirt patterns, you're heading into a little bit more detail and more of an intermediate makes, but there's definitely a lot there that as a beginner or intermediate sewer that you can get stuck into there with a lot of great instructions to guide you. But I love blouses and shirts. They're just so well worn in the wardrobe, and I could definitely see myself making a lot more of these patterns in the spring and summer season. If you're heading into autumn winter, don't forget a lot of these are great for layering as well, and depending on the fabric you make them in, you can get a lot of versatility out of a blouse or shirt. Thanks for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it's given you a bit of inspiration to get stuck into some sewing for your new season, whatever that may be. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful sewing week. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.